Hello, Programming 11. We are going to continue working on the Pew Pew game. I've been playing around with it over the weekend and adding some things in. Here's where I'm at right now with the game. It looks kind of like this, and you start off, there's these obstacles, and then bad guys start coming in, and the bad guys will just shoot enormous amounts of bullets at you, and you try to hide, but you can't. I obviously can't die right now, so I'd be pretty dead. But you're pretty OP too, because watch this. I could just like shoot, and all my bullets bounce, and they're just gonna like go crazy and blow up a bunch of things, and as they ricochet all over the place. I might call this game Ricochet or something like that. This is like a little bit absurd, and I don't know if this is going to be the actual gameplay of this game or whatever. I'm not even really too worried about it. But the cool thing is, look at all these objects that are bouncing around and moving around, and the computer is taking care of all these things and not even dropping any frames. Not yet, anyways. It will after a while if I let enough enemies grow. So this is something like what we'll be making together. Your actual final product may differ, my final product may differ, but the important thing is to be discovering how to make all these objects interact and move around in an efficient way. It looks like it'll be pretty complicated, maybe. I don't know how you feel about it, but we'll try and make it as straightforward as possible. So anyways, that's that version of it, and I'm going to be working on sort of another version of it over here and showing you how I made it. This version is the same, or left the same as what was from the last video, so you can just kind of pick up and go. Actually, I've added in a little bit. I've added in the Pew Pew game, intro screen, and I think that's about it, just so that there's something to see there. And that was your assignment from last class. No, I guess I screwed something else up. Maybe I can't have a font. I think I forgot to load the font or something. All right, let's see. It looks not quite as pretty as it did before, so we just won't worry about it. Hey, there's my game. Woo! All right, so let's get started. The next step we're going to do, now that you have sort of the mode framework in place, and you have your your clicks are handled by the right functions, and you can detect key presses. The next thing we're going to be doing is laying the groundwork for making this big community of objects that's moving around. And what we're going to do is we're going to make what's called a superclass, a class that will store all the stuff that's common between all those crazy bullets and things that are moving around. I'll just bring up the game again. Check out all these things that are in the game. There's you, there's bullets, there's obstacles, there's enemies. The enemies are shooting bullets. But they're all pretty similar. They have a lot in common. They're all circles. They all have X and Y positions. They all have hit points. They all have, potentially, I guess, a velocity, although some of them don't move at all. They have a size. They have a color. Like, there's so much that's in common between these things that it would be a shame to have to like type that out over and over again, and actually quite wasteful, both in terms of your time and also in terms of sort of future design, and that kind of part of object-oriented programming is a big deal. This is a pretty small-scale project, but a large-scale project, all that sort of duplication of information is a real sink of effort, and makes teams of software engineers just waste so much time debugging problems that could otherwise be fixed by having a superclass that sort of stores all the common stuff. So we're going to make our superclass today. So I'm going to go to my Pew Pew. This is the same as what you have at the end of video 1. And so I'm going to go and make a new tab, and I call it the GameObject class. GameObject. In case that's not super visible, that's what it's called, GameObject. And it's going to be the superclass or the foundation of pretty much every other class. It's not going to be 100% clear how we're going to use this class until we make some other classes, so stay focused on just kind of what this is all about for now, and then we'll see how to use it later in a future video. So here's my GameObject class. And again, it's going to represent sort of what's common between all those things that I want to have in the game. So I'm going to put in X and Y coordinates. I'm going to put in VX and VY, even though they don't necessarily move. They like them to have the potential to move, so I'll just make that. They all have a size. They're all going to have hit points. Even things that are indestructible, I'll just give them, infinite hit points or something. And then they'll all have a color as well. So that's going to be the instance variables that everything in my game is going to share. And other objects might have additional instance variables, and that's cool, but this is sort of what's common between everything. I'm going to have a couple of constructors. I'm going to make what's called a default constructor. Actually, no, I guess it's not a default constructor. I'm going to make a GameObject constructor that takes a single parameter. So what is this parameter all about? Basically, it lets me, when I make this object, I can choose its color. I'm going to decide everything else, but I'm going to be able to set its color. So I'm going to just set X to random. This is probably pretty familiar to you. Y to random. This is something we've done quite a bit. I'm going to set Vx and Vy to 0. It's just not going to be moving at first. I'm going to set its size to a random number, whatever. HP, I'll just set to, 1 or 1,000, I don't know, something, some number. It could be random as well. It seems a little excessive to be at 1,000. I'll set it to 1. And then my color will be C. So what is this C? The C will be sent from external code. So when I go to build a game object, I can send it a color, and then it will choose this color. So that's going to be one of my constructors. I'm also going to have a second constructor that's a little bit more specific, where I can send it all sorts of numbers to set everything up to make sure that it's exactly how I want it. Again, you're not going to see how this is used in this video. We're just kind of setting the groundwork for this. So I'll make my second constructor. And again, this is just giving my future objects some flexibility in choosing, how do they want to represent themselves. So I'm going to send it an X and a Y and a size and a hit points and a color. So now we got a little bit of a problem. We're sending it a parameter called X, and its variable name is also X. There's two X's. So how do we distinguish? So one way is just to rename your parameters. I'm not sure how you want to do that, but you can change their values to underscore X or something like that. But an easier way is just if you want to talk about your instance variables instead of your parameters, if you want to say, I want this X, I kid you not, the syntax is this dot X. So that it's hard to talk about this because it's in our English language so carefully, but this dot X refers to the instance variables. So again, you're trying to distinguish the instance variable from the parameter, then this dot X will do that. So I can say this dot X equals X, this dot Y equals Y, this dot size equals size, this dot HP equals HP. I don't have to say this dot my color equals C, although I can do that. That's totally fine. I can use this anytime I want to refer to an instance variable. But it's already, they're already different names, so it's not a big deal. I could drop this, but I'll keep it in there just for funsies. In fact, you could have put this in all these guys too, this dot X. It's not really necessary because there's nothing else called X or Y here, but it would have been fine to do so. So, yeah, I'll just leave it off for those ones. I'll put it in for this one. It doesn't matter too much. Vx and Vy I'm going to set to 0. Put it all on one line. Just because I don't want the things to be moving at first. Okay, and then we'll make a show function, void show. We'll just fill with my color, and then draw an ellipse at x, y, and size by size. And we'll make an act function, and we'll put in the movement code that's so famous. X equals x plus vx, y equals y plus vy. Again, I'm going to put one more function in here. I'm going to put in a final function that will let us know if this thing is alive or not. So I'll say Boolean is alive. And what a Boolean function is, you might notice that, hey, that's supposed to be void. No, it's okay. We can say Boolean, and this is basically a function that will return yes or no, am I alive or not. And actually, I wonder if is dead might be a better function. I want to check to see if things are dead. More than I want to check to see if things are alive. So I'll make a function called isDead, which will return true if you're dead. And how do I know if I'm dead? So hey, if HP is less than or equal to 0, I guess I'm dead, so I return true. This is how you answer the question. The return keyword will answer the question, and we'll understand this a bit better when we see it in action. Else return false, I'm not dead. Okay. We can tab these out if you wish, and we can put in braces if you wish. Might help out. Okay, I think I'm going to probably stop there. Semicolon. This is going to be the end of this video. So what we've done is we created a superclass, the GameObject. It's not 100% clear how we're going to use this yet, so stay tuned for the next video where we are going to make use of the GameObject and then make some things fly around in our screen. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to stop the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.